Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you are all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of self that have exactly what you want. I hope that's where you're placing your awareness on being the you that has whatever it is you're manifesting. Let me start with some quick basic bitch. If you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. All of my coaching options are in the Dropbox below. They're in the screens that just went by. I have 3 channel memberships where I go live with each one of the channel memberships every single week. I have my VIP, my Advanced Manifestors group. We go live together for now on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the deep dive group. That's the group where we're going to read the books. We're going to read all the books. We're going to discuss them. We're going to extend or deepen our knowledge around manifestation. So therefore, we can be less upset, triggered, or shot down by our 3D circumstances because we will have control of our minds, or at least stand in conviction that we are a version of ourselves. That group is my VIP group because it is the group that has the access to all recordings of all 3 channel memberships. Yes, it is the only group that has, well, obviously the recording of the Advanced Manifestors group, but also has access to the exclusive lives recordings. Yeah, you know, a little zhuzh, a little extra zhuzh. Speaking of which, the exclusive lives group is also on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That's a zhuzh-only group. That is the group where we only talk success stories, tips, and tricks. And by success stories, that can also include BBLs and movement. Anything that is zhuzh-worthy only, no circumstances. The only group that you can bring up your damn circumstances to get something answered is my hot seat / group coaching. I go live with them every single Friday at 9 a.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That is the group that you can come in, get your butt in that hot seat, and ask me anything you want regarding your circumstances or, you know, what it is you're manifesting. With that group, it is a 2-for-1, meaning you have access to the exclusive lives group and the hot seat. And I should say that VIP group I was talking about, the Advanced Manifestors, they have access to literally all the groups. So if you join the VIP Advanced Manifestors group, you can come to any channel membership meeting you choose. Okay. Also, the Advanced Manifestors group is the only group that we will have at random when my schedule allows our own private YouTube live streams. Just saying. I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have Clapper. Oh my God, I did it. I was hoping I was doing it under 3 minutes, but that didn't happen. Anyway, let me jump into today's video. And it is inspired by what we are currently deep diving in the Advanced Manifestors group, and it is the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't read that book, or you think that book doesn't sound like it's going to help you become a master manifester, even though secretly you already are one because you've been manifesting your whole life, you are so wrong. You need to see this book, okay? At minimum, specific chapters of this book. I'm just saying, this group, you know, I am making an assumption that I think this is the book that's going to wake people up to their damn mind, outside of the fact that I believe that every single one of us is pure, unadulterated consciousness. I believe that. I believe that we are manifesting our 3D realities at every given moment, and we are choosing to be a version of ourselves by what we believe about ourselves. Another way of saying that is by what we are aware of being, where we're placing our awareness. Another name, right? A third name for that is what state you're in, who you believe you are. I have manifested everything in my existence, at least from the conscious manifestation journey, from choosing who I am, choosing who I want to be. For some of you that are new, if you don't know what that means, how to choose to be a version of yourself, choosing is literally simply deciding you're going to, number one, say yes to something. So let's say you've decided to say, yes, I want to manifest that specific person, or I want to manifest being healthy or a large sum of money. When you make that decision to allow yourself to have it, from there, you are hopefully choosing a technique that you resonate with to choose who you are. Because every single technique that you hear of in the manifestation community is ultimately getting you to be your new self. It's getting you to focus on being that version of yourself. It's getting you into the state, because that is where we manifest from. We do not manifest from techniques. We manifest from becoming a new self. The beauty of this, and right now I can see the robotic affirming is coming back up in popularity again. Robotic affirming, when you are choosing to focus on certain affirmations and affirm, it's not the specific affirmations, right? There's not one powerful affirmation for everyone across the planet. No, you want to choose affirmations that really speak to you, the individual. You affirming it robotically over and over and over and over and over. What is it doing? What is it doing? A common response to that was, well, it's saturating your subconscious mind. Sure. It's also getting you to place your awareness on being a version of yourself. Even if that's not really what you're consciously focusing on, you're just focusing on the affirmation, doesn't matter. It's moving you. It's moving you anyway. And you will see as you rise in consciousness and expand your awareness how that really is what's happening with every single technique out there, which is why you hear me say there is not one really best technique. The technique that is the best is what feels good to you personally, you, the individual. Right? Okay. So with that, Napoleon Hill in this book, and granted, this is like my 4th video on Outwitting the Devil and you know, the plot and the idea behind the book, but I don't think it can be talked about enough. Depending on what your personal individual belief is around who you really are, what's really going on in the world today, what happens to us when we croak, all of our beliefs surrounding that, okay? From my perspective, I have the belief that we're pure, unadulterated consciousness, aka God, aka universe. That's who I believe we are. And that everything we believe, all beliefs, from moment to moment, we are choosing a version of ourselves. But this version of ourselves is manifesting the reality around us. This is why when I talk about manifestation, I say, you know, what's your perspective? How are you perceiving 3D reality? It's telling you who you believe you are. Outside of that, I was raised Catholic. If you're new here, this is probably the first time you're hearing this. If you're not, you've heard it on repeat. But I was raised under Catholicism. We were not, you know, perfect Catholics. It wasn't like that. I didn't feel suffocated as a child, but that was the principle of the beliefs, right? That we were Catholics and that God was the separate being who I felt was a mean, angry God who sat on a mountain like Gandalf. You shall not pass. But more or less, I believed you're going to be in trouble when you croak for all the bad things you've done. And this evil, mean, terrible devil is good. You're going to have to go to hell and live with him. This, you know, horned beast. I don't necessarily believe in any of that anymore. However, I do believe in Neville Goddard's perspective that heaven and hell is already here on this earth. Heaven and hell is in our mind. Now, from Napoleon Hill's aspect, he straight up calls it the devil, right? The evil, negative entity, energy within our mind. And like, meaning it's half and half, 50% the devil, 50% God. I don't want to give all the spoilers away about the book. However, I want to say that, again, depending on what you were raised with or what you currently believe for yourself now, At minimum, you can see how your thoughts are either based in love or fear. And what you want to label them as is your personal choice. For the sake of this video, we're going to call it the devil. The mean, angry, terrible, scary thoughts are the devil. Now, I have said in countless videos that we are not to blame for the thoughts that come into our mind. They just pop in, right? We do not control the thoughts that pop in. We control what we do with them. One of our lovely HBICs that I had a chit chat with last week brought to my attention a wonderful perspective on why we should not be upset with ourselves when shit thoughts come in, because a lot of us have a misunderstanding that we have to be afraid of every single thought that pops in our head. And that's just not true. You can see you don't control them. They just pop in all on their own, right? They're not your fault. And when Napoleon Hill's concept, the idea of it's the devil, it is the devil trying to keep you in line, in order, right? Under its control, this evil energy entity within our mind, okay? Again, I've said this before too, but I'm not saying you're possessed by the devil. That's not what I'm saying. But that evil horned beast, I don't believe that's a thing. I do believe that the evil entity or evil energy behind the thought, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. I do believe that we are consciousness, but at best, thoughts are just opportunities to other versions of ourselves or other realities. So for some of you that still have the belief that, it's God and the devil trying to, capture our souls, if you're still that person, and as our other HBIC that I chit-chatted with this week, Leanna, when we had a session, she emailed me later in the day and she said, I just had this, really good realization. And this is not a quote, but this is a roundabout. What she was saying is, the negative thoughts really aren't my fault. And what feels good is saying, no, devil, you're not going to control me right now, devil. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to listen to those thoughts. And then she felt really good and rewarded that in that moment, she made a better decision. She decided, I am my new self. I don't have to believe that negative thought. I don't have to let that thought trap me in fear. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this book again is because in this book, the devil provides the answer to Napoleon Hill that his greatest, and by his, again, side note, it's just easier. It's my habit of referring to God and the devil as he, just out of habit from my Catholicism upbringing, okay? I don't believe that they are a gender, truthfully. So as far as the devil, his greatest weapons, his means of keeping us from living the life we want, keeping us from taking control of our mind, is by getting us into habits, unfavorable habits. And one of those habits is the habit of drifting. With drifting simply means when a negative thought comes in, you choose it. You believe it. And you allow that shitty negative thought to take you on a spiral, or at minimum, get you drifting away from focusing on your desired thought. And it's a habit. And it's a habit, when you think about it, pretty much all of us have. At minimum, at least until the moment we wake up to manifestation. And I do believe that once you're aware of who you are really, as in consciousness, you are working to break the habit of just believing every damn thought that comes into your mind. We can be controlled by fear. When you think about it, how many times have you said no to something or gave up on something because you believed you weren't good enough? And your mind was doing its job of finding all the evidence of why that thought is true, that you're not good enough. You're drifting, and you're being controlled by fear. Now, for some of us, when our 3D isn't looking any different, or in fact, if it looks worse than when you first started this journey, our logical minds tend to go right to the place that something's wrong. You are doing something wrong. Your manifestation isn't going to happen. Manifestation isn't real. Well, listen to all that. Listen to all that doubt, all that negative bullshit thoughts. But for some of you, you listen to them and you allow yourself to get carried away. For some of you, you give up on your desires. For others, you do stand in conviction of your new decision. It's like the goal here is to take control back of your mind. For some of us, we are so in the habit of letting our mind just run amok, right? If a shit thought pops in, you listen to it, you believe it, and you let that carry you away into all sorts of shitty thoughts. And you start comparing things to all your old experiences. And there you are, drifting and not choosing to pull your awareness back to what you want. Now, this is not something we should be beating ourselves up for, but this is something that we should be working at. Stop doing it, to take your control back. So why not give yourself credit in those moments that you do say, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to believe that thought. I don't choose that thought. I know it's a possibility in another reality, but I'm not choosing that. That's not who I am. I'm not listening to you, devil. I'm not listening. Think about this. My greatest weapon over human beings consists of two secret principles by which I gain control of their minds. I will speak first of the principle of habit through which I silently enter the minds of people. By operating through this principle, I establish, I wish I could avoid using this word, the habit of drifting. When a person begins to drift on any subject, he is headed straight toward the gates of what you earthbound call hell. I can best describe the word drift by saying that people who think for themselves never drift, while those who do little or no thinking for themselves are drifters. A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. He would rather let me occupy his mind and do his thinking than go to the trouble of thinking for himself. A drifter is one who accepts whatever life throws in his way without making a protest or putting up a fight. He doesn't know what he wants from life and spends all of his time getting just that. A drifter has lots of opinions, but they are not his own. Most of them are supplied by me. A drifter is one who is too lazy mentally to use his own brain. That is the reason I can take control of people's thinking and plant my own ideas in their minds. Think about what you're manifesting and think about how many times you've caught your mind running off into the direction of why you can't have it, why it won't work. Some of you are manifesting a specific person that you actually know. You already have some kind of an intermingling with. Maybe there's a third party in the scenario. How many times have you honestly, authentically caught yourself in a moment of totally getting involved? I don't know, maybe we'll say in an inner argument, of you being upset and frustrated with your person because they have a third party. Maybe that third party was there before you. Maybe the third party wasn't. But how many times have you caught yourself thinking anger, shitty, mean, hurtful things regarding your person because of the circumstance of the third party? Now, again, This is not me in any way, shape, or form trying to say your feelings aren't valid or that you need to be a doormat for the person you're manifesting, right? That's not the message. The message is it's time to control your own mind. It's time to take your power back. How do you do that? Well, number one, you don't shame yourself for drifting. You don't shame yourself for it. You don't beat yourself up. You instead practice being aware. Even if you take just 5 damn minutes a day of sitting somewhere quietly, no technology, right? And just closing your eyes and focusing on who is there as awareness. If you're like me, random thoughts are going to pop in. And it's you practicing to bring that control back. If you want to practice doing that with, once you close your eyes, you bring up what you're manifesting. And maybe you can focus on what it would be like or feel like to be the you that has exactly what you're manifesting. And see what thoughts come in. But you're practicing keeping a focus, your awareness, on having what you want. Even if you're just doing that 5 minutes a day to start breaking through the habit of allowing your mind to lose control. It might bring you comfort, like Leanna suggested, that when you catch yourself getting a shit thought and you totally become Teflon to it, like, nope, no thanks, devil, I'm not doing this today. You're not winning this one today, devil. I don't have to listen to that thought, and I know because of who I am, I don't have to listen to that thought. No, not today. Get thee behind me, Satan. Not happening. Reward yourself for that moment. Reward yourself. Now listen, as far as this comment on we allow ourselves to be controlled by outside circumstances, listen, let's keep it real. Most of you are. I certainly was in the early days of my journey. So I get it. This is why I say we don't beat ourselves up. We don't shame ourselves for it. That's a waste of time. Seriously. But see it for what it is. See it for what it is. Does it make sense that your reality is showing you a circumstance that you don't like? Does it match your mind? Does it match where you used to focus your attention? So now we know better. So why let an outside circumstance right now get to dictate who you are? No. We're breaking through that habit. We're breaking through the habit of listening to fear. The idea around manifestation, depending on what aspect you come from. For some of you, it's a super spiritual journey. Nothing wrong with that. For some of you, it's more of a scientific journey. Also, nothing wrong with that. But this is powerful. And taking the control back over what you are aware of, what you're placing your focus on, is going to be life-changing for you. Don't try to make sense of circumstances that are here right now that are frustrating or hurting you or just overall upsetting you. Don't try to make sense of them. Instead, where is your focus? Where is your focus? Is it on you having the manifestation? Or is it on all the reasons why you don't have it yet? Or being afraid of not ever getting it? Where is it really? Be honest with yourself. And it's okay. If the answer is you've been focused on the not having it, okay, now you're aware of that. Let's bring the focus back to what you want. I cannot stress enough, this is not in any way for us to judge ourselves and be hard on ourselves. This is just about getting disciplined with our mind, getting disciplined, what we're believing and what we're not. This isn't about thought flipping. This isn't about chasing off the fearful thoughts. And if that's what it feels or sounds like, no. You got the wrong message. I'm saying take a step backwards. Take a step backwards and see it through the eyes of awareness, the thought. Do I have to believe this fear? Do I have to listen to this thought? Or can I just place my awareness back to me having what I want? It's choice. It's always the choice. A lot of you, and I'm going to call you baby manifestors, are so afraid of the fearful thoughts that if they're in your mind, oh my God, they're going to manifest. No, they're not. No, they're not. Bring your focus back to being the you that has it. But for some, listen, it's going to help for you to see it as that's just the devil. Just the devil trying to get you to drift again. You going to let the devil win? You're going to let evil control you? You're going to let negativity control you? Are you going to let outside circumstances, outside people to tell you who you are? Don't overthink this. Just make a new decision. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.